Good morning, everybody. I'm going to do a video today in the shop. Now this video is going to be showcasing probably what you would think as utility knives for this, but I'm going to show you the use of utility knives to do what I do on a daily basis with boxes and cutting. Probably should have done these kind of videos a long time ago, but I've always felt like, oh, who wants to see a guy cut boxes? So what I do is every light I make, I'm a rustic country wood light designer. This is a bathroom vanity light right here. Each of these get a cage or glass shade, something of that nature, depending on what the customer prefers. That's a vanity light. This is a live edged recessed black walnut ceiling light. Goes right above you with directional, multi-directional. Look at those things. They rotate 360 degrees and tilt out 180 degrees. So you can point them at pictures on the wall, different directions where you prefer your light, all that kind of stuff. Right now I'm going to show you how the process I go for boxing these. If you notice, all my lights are all different sizes all the time. I can't just have pre-made boxes, so I've got to make my own boxes. I'll buy an extra large box from either Home Depot, Lowe's, or wherever, cut it, turn it into a flat, and start making boxes. The first knife I'm going to use is going to be the Button Lock Tough Built. That's kind of my go-to knife out here in the shop. And first thing I do is I make these basic strip cuts with this utility knife. I'm going to be showing you how I would do it with a pocket knife if that's what I chose to use. Crap, getting old. All the pocket knives I'm going to use here in my pocket as well. So some of this stuff's just the basics. I cut these strips all the time for all the different style lights I do. Fold this up over. This is just added protection and holds the cages still. So this is to kind of give you an idea of why somebody might use a pocket knife to continually cut cardboard into strips, whatnot. Take your pick. Now it's ready to be packed. So then I'll take this box, put it up like this, make a cut, turn it into a flat, set it on top here. Now this is going to give me a good idea of how big I need the box to be. Now it's kind of chilly out here in the shop, so that means when it's cold out, tape does not want to work as well as if it's warm. I mean, what doesn't want to work as well when it's cold out? I'll put a cut there, cut there. I mean, this is going to be a good video as far as teaching you also how you can make your own boxing. See how I'm doing this? Now, when I get these over angles right here, I either cut them off, or if you put a score on that cardboard, just a score, you can fold that cardboard real easily and fold it in. I like to do the fold ins because if you cut it off, you throw away that piece of cardboard, you're kind of losing added strength that you could leave on the box. And I'll take all the added strength I could possibly have, because when you're shipping products, you want them to be as secure as possible, because sometimes shippers aren't the most kind with your packages. So I'll do the same thing here. Little score angle here. Do the fold over. Flip it up. See that flap right there? I'll put a score like that. Folds in real nice like that. Secure it with a piece of tape. Now here's what I like to do here. Because I like all my angles to look as though the box was almost as pre-made as possible. I don't want it to look like a jumbled, wrinkly pack of garbage. I'll put a score off the back here. Fold it down. See that? Just fold it right down. Set it back up. Now I trust my eyeball on a lot of this stuff. You could probably get a tape measure out if you wanted. But I've been doing this long enough where even if I'm off a little bit, I know how to make it work. Do another score right here. Look at that. Look how this is all working out. Beautiful thing, isn't it? I'll use this mark to make this mark. So now I think you're probably understanding, if you've ever worked with knives, utility knives, you're probably understanding why I like utility knives. Kind of screwing this up now. I'm trying to talk. Tape the seam. All right, so now it's secure. There. You don't want to skimp too much on the tape either. Tape is expensive. Packing tape is pretty expensive. I mean, I don't want to say it's expensive really, because if you think about what you get, I get these rolls here. I think you get 6 of these. 6 times 6 is 36 rolls for 40 bucks, 50 bucks. Sometimes more depending on the quality you get. I try to get the mid to high quality on the tape. I've found the more tape you're willing to use, the more secure your package is going to be. The more secure your package is going to be, obviously, less chance of a return product situation. When I get a return product, that means I have to maybe potentially, because of damage, completely make a whole new light. And that's no bueno. So this is like a 3-point cut right here. I'll cut it right here, right here, right here. Fold this in, fold that in, fold that over, fold that over. Okay. Now I take the second measure of taping. I tape all these corners where I did the creases. Where I scored it. It leaves, when you do that, it leaves exposed cardboard. This exposed cardboard will give somebody a really bad paper cut. I know that sounds pretty wimpy. Oh, you know, I don't want them to get a paper cut. But, you know, you don't want your UPS guy. I use UPS primarily. I do use U.S. Postal Service on occasion, specifically for overseas, believe it or not. USPS is really good for overseas shipping. They're very affordable. And I haven't really, the only complaints I'll get from the customers overseas when I ship is that it takes a little bit longer. So now I'm taping all these exposed creases right now. There it is. This package is going to go, I think this one's going to Mississippi. Put my label. Because this light doesn't have any glass, it's packed pretty good, I'll put one fragile sticker. But if it's like the last light I showed you, the recess light, I will sometimes put 4 to 6 on every end just to make extra sure that they know it's very fragile. Now that was how I do this light, or a light, boxed from scratch, to make it almost look like a box was made for this light. Go. The next one I box up, I'm going to use a pocket knife. So stay tuned. Okay, I'm back. On this light, we're going to use a pocket knife. I'll do the same thing. I'm going to cut strips for it for protection that goes across the framing and or the recessed lights. Plus, on this one, I add a sheet of butcher paper just to kind of make it that much safer. This one, we're going to use the Kubey 322. This has D2 steel, so let's see what D2 steel does with a drop point blade. Cuts paper. There's that. Let me cut some strips. Now it cuts it. Seems to cut it fine. But the one thing I don't like about using a pocket knife, specifically certain pocket knives that have a distinguished sharpening or finger choil, this has a sharpening choil that's kind of oversized, is there is no blade on the inside smile where the plunge grind is. There's no edge. So it's going to just catch on the cardboard and drag. I don't like that. So that means you got to precisely center your blade on the cardboard or whatever you might be cutting. And that's not always the easiest thing to do. But it's doable. There you go. I got 3 pieces of cardboard for this. Now what I like to do is, of course, wrap it first. So this is like a fancy little Christmas present. So far the pocket knife's doing not a bad job. Center the light on the box. Do what we did last time. Fold these up. Last time I didn't have to score these, but now I got to score them. So let's see how this drop point does on a score. Not bad. Knives over to drop point pocket knives. Before I go any further as far as rolling it and getting it more packed, now I got to cut these edges and I do the ends. I don't like how that did that. That wasn't bad. Not bad. I'm definitely going to have to sharpen this. That's another nice thing about utility knives. You don't have to sharpen the blades. This Kubey's going to need a sharpening because I use it a lot. It's become my favorite modern flipper carry for 2024 so far. It's doing an okay job with this. You can feel the resistance on the thickness of the blade. I'll tell you that right now. Because of course, utility knives are ultra thin. That ultra thinness, that's when you see knife guys talking about how thin the blade is and how it becomes slicey, that's why. A lot less friction involved in cutting the box. In cutting the box. Put a score on the back here. Fold her down. She's folding pretty good. Now put another score. Fold it across the top of the light. See how that works. See how nice that folds when you do that? Here, I can do it right now. That wasn't bad, but it's just not as straight as if I did a... See how nice that was? All right, but sometimes it's good to maybe do that little fold so you can kind of see a line where to put your score. Really bad. Like, I don't like this. So I'm going to cut this little strip because it's getting thinner. Because my light isn't perfect. It's not perfect dimensions because it is the live edge of a piece of wood. Last I checked, Mother Nature didn't really pay much attention to geometry. So I'm definitely feeling the resistance on this. And this isn't a super thick blade. Because just some knives are not meant to do this project. I'll tell you that right now. I'm gonna do one with my new Rosecraft blade because the swayback, the Rosecraft Clinch River swayback, has a Wharncliffe blade, and I'm suspecting that a Wharncliffe blade is going to really do well on this process. Okay, another light very similar to the last, but this one has 6 lights and it's approximately 12 inches longer. The knife we're going to use on this one, not that. Okay, this knife here has 8-aught steel. I wanted to try 8-aught, but we're going to use the Rosecraft Clinch River Swayback on this one. Look at that sucker. Now that's a Wharncliffe. Big choil here, so you know how I feel about that when cutting, when I'm cutting cardboard. That likes to grab. Blade material is this, so check it out. Much slicier than the D2 Kubi. I'll tell you that right now. Lay this down. Let's cut a couple strips. We've got one already cut, so let's cut about 4 strips. See it wanting to grab? That's a problem. This finger choil right here is definitely going to disqualify this knife from being a go-to for this process. That's okay, because this knife isn't meant for this, that's for sure. But it's nice to know that you can use it. Now, I can use it. I just have to concentrate on keeping this real estate of the blade, which appears to be about 2.5 inches or so, directly centered on the cardboard. The second that cardboard drifts back to this finger choil, it's going to bite. Let me show you. So see, I'm cutting it fine. I'm doing good. Now I go a little bit deeper because I'm trying to push hard. Now, I'm not cutting this. I'm forcefully tearing it. Now getting back lined up again was difficult. Making this Wharncliffe is going to be really nice for some of the other cuts I'm going to do. But this finger choil eliminates it from this process in my mind. I've got 4 strips. We're going to cut 6 strips. I don't want to have to think about lining this blade up while I'm doing these very general cuts. I just don't want to have to worry about that, because when you're trying to be as efficient as possible for quickness and safety, you don't want to add things to think about. Now, let's wrap this slab of meat up after I get this box cut to size. I'm going to have to cut I'm really not liking using this knife for this period, just to show you, because this is a special knife to me. Not only was it a great gift from a great subscriber, it's also just a beautiful knife. And sometimes it's really hard for me to use a beautiful knife for work. Yeah, it sounds terrible. I'm that guy. I have knives. I have knives for different things. I do.
Driving down an old country road, tunes blaring on the radio. We didn't have a care in the world. Growing up in a valley town, steel mills all around. We had nowhere to go. 90 mile an hour on old Route 2, heading down the river for something to do. Raising hell on a West Virginia night. Football on Friday nights, school dances and getting right.